There is an exciting new artifact sitting in the lobby of the Canada Space and Aviation Museum, and our next guest is going to tell you all about it. And she's had a personal experience with this artifact. I am joined by Cassandra Marion. She's the science advisor over at the Canada Aviation and Space Museum. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You should be, because you've had, as I said, you have a personal experience with this. Tell us what the newest addition to the museum is.
So the newest addition is the Rover. So it's a Mars prototype rover, and we got it from the Canadian Space Agency through a partnership with them. They graciously loaned it to us for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
And so what I mean by Mars prototype rover, it's basically a testbed platform to develop technologies and do rover-based science and train Canadians to explore with rovers on the moon, Mars, and in the future.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So So what is your personal experience with Rex the rover?
Rex means robot explorer. It's a short form. But my personal experience, I'm a planetary geologist. It just means I like space rocks.
Okay, cool. I like it.
I'm into rocks. I'm into space.
Okay.
And my expertise is in impact cratering. And so the first field test that they did with this rover was at Meteor Crater in Arizona, which is just north of Flagstaff.
Okay.
And they were testing out its limitations. They were basically doing an analog mission, a simulated space mission, to test out its ability to explore the geology around it. It had a robotic arm attached and a drill, a series of really cool instruments. And so I got to be the scientist on the team in the field, pointing out, this is an interesting rock for you to go and check out, take a picture, analyze it, possibly take a sample here.
You mentioned there's cool instruments as part of it. So what do we find on this rover? What are some of the cool instruments?
Well, this rover is really versatile. So you can change out different instruments. But the ones that are on it right now at the museum, which is in our lobby, is a series of instruments that help basically see its surroundings. So there's a special camera called the stereo camera. It's usually there are only 2 cameras, but this one's got 3, so it's kind of like a triclops.
Oh yeah? Oh, yeah. Very cool. I like it.
Triclops camera. And it's on a mast, so it's kind of the head, the eyes of the rover. And so it uses images that they overlap, and so it gets a bit of depth perception. They can see the texture of things, not just a 2D world. And it's on top of a pan tilt unit that lets the head basically turn and tilt, and so it can look all around.
Right.
And then another instrument is called a cam cube. It's a type of light detection and ranging, a LiDAR. This is a technology that Canadians are actually really, really good at. We just imaged an asteroid really far away with a similar type of instrument. And it can basically map its surroundings in 3D using laser beams. And this one actually uses infrared laser beams to make a map of what's around it. And that way, if it knows where everything is, it can navigate and dodge hazards and stuff like that.
You know that I really want to go laser beams right now, but I'm gonna hold back on this, Cassandra. The question that always comes up with space exploration, Mars exploration, is why do we do it? What can we learn from an instrument like this, sending it to somewhere like Mars?
That's an interesting question. And it's a long answer. I could go anywhere with that.
You've got 3.5 minutes.
But why do space exploration? Well, robotic space exploration. Canada is known for our expertise in robotics. This particular rover, the Canadian Space Agency about a decade ago said, hey, we need to develop more expertise in rovers in the robotic world. And so this is one of their early prototypes. They now have a fleet of rovers. And it was really to develop technologies, develop expertise. So not just the engineers, scientists like myself who got to benefit from this program to train Canadians so that we can go and explore, Mars and Moon and beyond. And it's come to fruition because, we've been part of several Mars rovers that are roving on Mars right now. Yeah. And Canada's about to send its own rover to the moon in the next couple of years.
And I guess what we learn too, even from building these things, is that we learn things that we can use here on Earth as well, right? I mean, that's part of the benefit of doing this sort of research. So let's talk about the museum again. What other sort of spacey, you love space, so what other spacey things can we find at the museum these days?
Oh yeah, there's so many. So there's two major exhibits on the spacey side of things. There's Life in Orbit, so it's kind of like on the International Space Station, how astronauts live, what do they do. And then another one is Health in Space, and so the health of the astronauts, how do we track their health, some of the medical experiments that we might be conducting, radiation, things like that. And then we also have some very famous artifacts. One of my favorite, of course, is Canadarm.
Oh, yes, of course.
So Canadarm is this 15-foot-long robotic arm designed just like, your human arm with a shoulder, an elbow, wrist, and like a little snare end effector, they call it. But it's basically a hand to grab things. And it used to be on the Endeavour shuttle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot to be proud of, don't we,
We do.
in this country? We're very humble and almost to a fault at times, but just going to the museum and seeing the accomplishments that we've made in space and aviation, it's pretty miraculous, isn't it?
Yeah, we've made leaps and bounds in the last couple of decades. Yeah.
What drew you to your field?
Oh, I was just saying this in the hallway.
You were talking to Tanya, our guest liaison. Yeah.
I feel like any kind of field within the space exploration, we have so many questions that are unanswered right now. We've learned so much, but there's still so much we don't know, and it's way more on the side of we don't know, right?
Right.
And so we can just continue exploring and learning, to no end.
Well, you must have an incredible curiosity.
Exactly.
Growing up, did you have this curiosity of your parents were like, where is she going now, and grabbing insects and rocks and so forth?
I definitely was a rock collector.
Yeah.
And just a natural explorer. I loved nature and being
Do you
outside.
still collect? Do you have some rocks at home where your guests come over and you go, listen, you have to come and look at my rock display.
Yes, I do.
Here's my. What's the most interesting one you have?
Most interesting. One of my rocks is called a tektite, and it's from an impact crater. So a meteorite hit the Earth, and it was so hot and so high pressure that it melted some of the rocks, and basically you have lava on the surface, and that was ejected into space. And once it was in space, all the air was sucked out of it, and it came back down and back onto Earth. And
Cassandra, I'm running out of time. We're going to have you back sometime because I'm fascinated. We'll be right back after this.